many high-achieving individuals carry a secret burden, the persistent, gnawing feeling that they are not as competent as others believe, that their success is built on luck or charm, and that they will eventually be exposed as a fraud. This experience, known as imposter syndrome, is far more than simple self-doubt. It can become a debilitating lens through which every achievement is minimized and every mistake is magnified, leading to chronic overwork, anxiety, and burnout. This book presents a compassionate and structured journey out of that cycle, transforming that internal critic into a voice of realistic self-appraisal. It moves beyond simple pep talks to provide a series of reflective writing exercises, building a personalized toolkit for lasting change. The process begins by looking backward with curiosity, not judgment. The first task is to excavate your imposter origin story. These feelings rarely appear out of nowhere. They are often rooted in early family dynamics, educational experiences, or social environments. Perhaps you were the sensitive child compared to a smart sibling, or maybe your worth felt conditional on flawless achievement. By identifying these foundational narratives, writing them down in a few clear sentences, you begin to see them as learned stories, not immutable truths. This understanding forms the bedrock for all subsequent steps, allowing you to separate your authentic self from the imposter persona you learned to wear. With this origin story in hand, the next phase involves mapping the present-day landscape of your imposter feelings. This means identifying your specific triggers. A trigger is any situation that activates that familiar wave of fraudulence, such as receiving public praise, starting a new job, being evaluated, or even entering a room of accomplished peers. The goal here is not to avoid these situations but to demystify them. By documenting recent episodes, noting the setting, the people involved, and your automatic thoughts and reactions, you start to see predictable patterns. This awareness is power. It creates a crucial moment of pause between the trigger and your habitual response, opening a door for choice. This newfound awareness sets the stage for the core work, actively changing your internal narrative. The imposter story is compelling because it is simplistic and thin, editing out all contradictory evidence. The antidote is to thicken the story by deliberately weaving in missing context, forgotten competencies, and balanced perspectives. If your old story is, "I only succeeded because I got lucky," the thickened version asks, what specific skills and persistent efforts actually contributed to that success? It embraces both in thinking. You can be both nervous and prepared, both a perpetual learner and an expert in your field. This exercise isn't about blind positivity, but about crafting a more accurate and complete autobiography that honors your complexity. A profound shift occurs when you move this work from a private journal into the shared space of your relationships. Speaking your truth, confiding in a trusted friend, mentor, or colleague about these feelings serves a dual purpose. It breaks the spell of isolation and shame, often revealing that others share similar struggles. Furthermore, it allows you to own your greatness aloud by consciously listing and acknowledging your skills. This step involves creating a tangible inventory of your abilities, defined broadly to include interpersonal intelligence, creative problem-solving, resilience, and technical expertise. Referring to this list becomes a concrete rebuttal to the imposter's vague accusations. The mind of someone experiencing imposter syndrome is often hijacked by a swarm of automatic negative thoughts, ANTs. These are the instantaneous, distorted cognitions that reinforce the fraud narrative. "They'll find me out, I'm not as good as everyone here, this has to be perfect." Step 5 is a cognitive intervention to silence these ANTs. First, you learn to label them, e.g., catastrophizing or mind-reading. Then, you develop a set of challenge questions to dispute their logic. What is the actual evidence for this thought? Finally, you practice replacing the ANT with a more realistic and compassionate statement. This builds mental muscle to intercept and redirect the negative self-talk that fuels the imposter cycle. True confidence is built through action, not just thought. Therefore, the guide encourages you to experiment with new roles and behaviors in low-stakes environments. This could mean volunteering to lead a small meeting, sharing an opinion in a group where you normally stay quiet, or deliberately submitting a good enough project instead of a perpetually delayed perfect one. The goal is to collect real-world data that contradicts your imposter narrative. Each small experiment, whether it goes flawlessly or has bumps, provides evidence that you can survive, adapt, and even thrive outside your old, constricted comfort zone. Finally, you are urged to consciously build your dream team, a personal board of directors who provide support, honest feedback, and perspective. This team is not for sycophantic praise, but for reality checking your imposter distortions and reflecting your strengths back to you when you cannot see them. Surrounding yourself with these chosen allies creates an external environment that reinforces your new, thicker narrative. By combining this external support with the internal work of origin stories, trigger maps, thickened narratives, skill inventories, and ANT management, you construct a robust and resilient identity. The journey culminates not in the arrogant elimination of all doubt, but in the empowered ability to own your genuine accomplishments, accept your human limitations, and step forward into your capabilities with quiet assurance.